I was staring at my wife's phone on our kitchen counter when the notification lit up the screen. The preview was enough. Last night was incredible. Can't stop thinking about you. My name is David Parker. I'm 42 years old, married for 16 years, father to 2 kids, and until that Tuesday morning in March, I thought I had a pretty solid handle on my life. The message came from someone saved in her contacts as gym trainer. I picked up the phone. No password. She'd never needed one, or so I thought. My hands weren't even shaking yet. That would come later. Right then, I was operating on pure autopilot, my brain refusing to process what my eyes were seeing. I scrolled up through the conversation. The messages went back 3 months. 3 whole months of "I miss you" and "When can we meet again?" and detailed plans for afternoon meetups at the Riverside Hotel downtown. The same hotel where we'd celebrated our 10th anniversary. My wife, Jennifer Parker, was upstairs getting ready for work. I could hear the hairdryer running in our bathroom. Any minute now, she'd come down those stairs in her business casual outfit, kiss me on the cheek like she did every morning, grab her protein shake from the fridge, and head to her job as a marketing director at Whitmore and Associates. I took screenshots, every single message. My fingers moved mechanically across the screen, capturing everything. I texted them to myself, then deleted the text from her phone. The whole process took maybe 4 minutes. The hairdryer was still running. I set her phone back exactly where I'd found it. Then I sat down at the kitchen table and waited. Jennifer came down at 7:15, right on schedule. She was wearing a gray pencil skirt and a cream-colored blouse. Her blonde hair was pulled back in that professional bun she always wore to the office. She looked exactly like the woman I'd married, the woman I'd built a life with, the mother of my 13-year-old daughter Emma and 10-year-old son Tyler. "Morning, honey," she said, breezing past me to the fridge. "Did you remember Tyler has soccer practice tonight? I've got that client dinner, so you'll need to pick him up." "Sure," I heard myself say. My voice sounded normal, steady. "What time?" 6:30. "Oh, and Emma needs money for the field trip on Friday." I left a check on the counter. She grabbed her shake, took a sip, and finally looked at me. Really looked at me. "You okay? You look pale." "Didn't sleep great," I said. Also true. I'd been up since 4, having woken to use the bathroom, when I'd noticed her phone lighting up repeatedly on the nightstand. That's when I'd first seen the messages. I'd spent the next 3 hours lying in the dark next to her, listening to her breathe, wondering who the hell I was married to. "Well, try to take it easy today." She leaned down and kissed my cheek. Her perfume, the expensive one I'd bought her for Christmas, filled my nostrils. "Love you." "Love you too," I said automatically. The door closed behind her. I heard her car start in the driveway, heard it pull away. Then I pulled out my phone and started reading through the screenshots again. The trainer's name was Blake Sutton. I found him easily enough on the gym's website. 28 years old, certified personal trainer, specializing in one-on-one intensive sessions. The photo showed a guy who looked like he'd been assembled in a lab specifically to wreck marriages. Square jaw, perfect teeth, the kind of muscles that came from making fitness your entire personality. Jennifer had joined Elite Fitness back in January. She'd told me she wanted to get in shape, feel better about herself. I'd encouraged her, paid for the membership myself, even watched the kids extra hours so she could go to her training sessions 3 times a week. I thought about all those evenings, all those times she'd come home flushed and energetic, talking about her workout, how sore she was, how intense Blake was as a trainer, how he really pushed her to her limits. My stomach turned. I had to get the kids to school. That reality anchored me, gave me something to focus on besides the nuclear bomb that had just detonated in my chest. Emma was already downstairs, earbuds in, scrolling through her phone. Tyler thundered down a minute later, his backpack half open and spilling papers. "Dad, I need you to sign this," he said, shoving a form at me. I signed it, made them breakfast, packed lunches, drove them to school, hugged them both goodbye. Did all the normal dad things while my entire world crumbled around me. Then I drove to work. I'm a civil engineer for the county. I've got an office, a decent salary, good benefits. Boring, stable work. The kind of job that lets you provide for your family, build a future, plan for retirement. I'd been at the same firm for 18 years. I sat at my desk and stared at my computer screen. I had a project deadline coming up, a new water treatment facility design that needed approval. I opened the files, closed them, opened them again. My phone buzzed. A text from my best friend, Robert Hayes. We'd known each other since college, stood up at each other's weddings. "Poker night this weekend? Greg's hosting." I stared at the message. Poker night. Beer and cards and talking about sports and work. Normal life things. Things that existed in a world where my wife wasn't sleeping with her personal trainer. "Maybe," I typed back. "I'll let you know." I needed a plan. I needed to think clearly. But every time I tried to focus, I saw those messages. Last night was incredible. 3 months, 90 days of lies. How many times had she looked me in the eye and lied? The pizza arrived at 6:30 on Thursday. I'd been tracking Jennifer's patterns for 3 days now. Tuesday night, gym. Wednesday, late at work. Thursday was supposed to be date night with Blake, according to their texts. Can't wait for Thursday. Tell David it's a work dinner. Except Thursday was also the night Marco usually delivered our pizza. I'd been ordering from Gino's twice a week for the past year. Always the same, large pepperoni, extra cheese. Marco knew our address by heart. Knew I tipped well. 20% in the app, plus another 5 in cash. Tonight, I'd ordered early. 5 o'clock, timed for Jennifer's arrival home at 6:15. She walked in at 6:12, gym bag over her shoulder. Hair pulled back, makeup still perfect. She hadn't been to the gym. "Oh, pizza night?" She set her bag by the stairs. "I thought we were doing chicken." Changed my mind. I was setting the table. 2 plates, 2 napkins. Long day, didn't feel like cooking. Fair enough. She headed upstairs. "Let me change." The doorbell rang at 6:28. I opened it to find Marco holding our pizza, but his expression was different tonight. Uncomfortable. "Hey, David." He shifted the pizza box. "Got your order." "Thanks, Marco." I pulled out my wallet. "Appreciate it." He didn't hand over the box yet. "So, I gotta ask you something." I waited. "Your wife." He glanced past me into the house. "Jennifer, right?" My stomach tightened. "Yeah." "She orders from us too. Different account." He lowered his voice. "Been delivering to the Riverside Hotel. Apartment 314. 4 times a week for the past couple months." I kept my expression neutral. "That right?" "Yeah, and..." He scratched his neck. "Look, man, I don't like getting in people's business, but she always answers the door in like a robe. And there's always some guy there, young guy. Tips big, winks at me, makes comments about fuel for the workout." The blood was rushing in my ears, but I kept my voice steady. "Apartment 314? "Yeah, same hotel, every time. Always around 7, 7:30. Orders the same thing. Small margarita, extra basil. Says it's her diet night meal." He finally handed me the pizza. I thought you should know. My sister got cheated on. Nobody told her for months. I couldn't do that to you." I pulled out 2 20s, handed them both to him. "The app shows her order history?" "If you got access to her account, yeah. Shows every delivery address, time, tip amount. Everything." "Marco." I met his eyes. "Thanks." "I'm sorry, man." He pocketed the cash. Really? I closed the door as Jennifer came down the stairs in yoga pants and one of my old college shirts. Domestic and comfortable. The perfect wife settling in for a quiet evening at home. Smells good. She headed for the kitchen. I'm starving. I followed her, carrying the pizza box, set it on the table between our two plates. How was the gym? I opened the box. Good. Tough session today. She grabbed a slice. Blake really pushed me on the weights. Blake. I took my own slice. Your trainer? Yeah. She bit into the pizza, completely relaxed. He's great. Really knows his stuff. I pulled out my phone, opened the Geno's app. You ever order from here? She glanced up. Sometimes. Why? Just curious. I navigated to the login screen. What's your email again? The one you use for apps? Why do you need it? They're running a promotion. Thought I'd add you to get the discount. She rattled off her email. I typed it in, then tried the password she used for everything. Emma's birthday plus our street number. It worked. Her order history loaded. Dozens of deliveries. All to the Riverside Hotel, apartment 314. The dates matched perfectly with her gym nights and late work nights. I turned the phone toward her. Diet nights? The pizza slice stopped halfway to her mouth. That's what you call them, right? Your diet nights? I scrolled through the orders. Small margarita, extra basil, 3 times a week, every week for 3 months. David, apartment 314, Riverside Hotel. I set the phone down. Same hotel where we celebrated our 10th anniversary. That's a nice touch. She put down the slice. I can explain. Marco told me everything, at the door, just now. I took a bite of my pizza, chewed, swallowed. Says you answer the door in a robe. Says there's always some young guy there. Says he winks and makes comments about fuel for the workout. Her face had gone white. He showed me the app history, every delivery, every tip, every time you ordered food to your little love nest. I reached across the table and tipped the entire pizza box toward her. It landed in her lap. Sauce and cheese sliding down the front of my old college shirt. Pepperoni sticking to the yoga pants. She jumped up. What the? Apartment 314. I stood too. Blake Sutton, 28 years old, personal trainer. Been screwing my wife in a hotel room I paid for with our 10th anniversary memories. You went through my phone. Her voice was shaking. You left it unlocked on the counter. Tuesday morning. Saw the text from Jim, trainer. I grabbed my phone again. Want me to read some of them? I've got screenshots. All 3 months' worth. She was trying to wipe pizza sauce off the shirt. Her hands were shaking. David, please what? Please don't tell the kids? Please don't tell your boss? Please don't tell Blake's gym? I leaned against the counter. Or please keep paying for the membership so you can keep screwing him 3 times a week? It wasn't supposed to. Wasn't supposed to what? Last this long? Mean anything? Get discovered? I crossed my arms. Which part wasn't supposed to happen, Jennifer? She sank back into her chair, pizza box sliding to the floor. I didn't mean for this. You ordered pizza to his apartment 47 times. I held up the phone. 47 times you got dressed, drove to that hotel, walked into his apartment, and ordered food. That's a lot of not meaning for something to happen. What are you going to do? I looked at her sitting there. Sauce staining the shirt, cheese in her hair, tears starting to form. I'm going to finish my dinner. I sat back down, pulled another slice from the box on the floor. Then I'm going to order more pizza. What? To apartment 314, to Blake's place. I took a bite. Except I'm not going to order the nice margarita you like. I'm going to order some special toppings. Anchovies that have been sitting out. Expired sausage. Maybe some mushrooms that smell a little off. David, and I'm going to do it on your account. Multiple times, different days. Make sure Blake gets real familiar with rancid food showing up at his door. I smiled. Then I'm going to call the health department. Anonymous tip about Geno's using expired ingredients. Mention apartment 314 specifically as the delivery address where the bad food went. She stared at me. Health department investigates, finds nothing wrong with Geno's, but they'll mention it to the owner, and the owner will check which address got all those complaints. I finished the slice. Geno's will ban Blake's address, maybe ban Blake himself. Can't have customers claiming food poisoning even if it's fake. You can't. I can. I will. I stood up. And then I'm filing for divorce. And in the settlement, I'm going to make sure you don't get access to any of our shared accounts, including food delivery apps. You want pizza? You'll have to go pick it up yourself. Can't risk you ordering to your next boyfriend's place. There is no next. Shut up. My voice was flat. You don't get to talk anymore. You don't get to explain. You don't get to cry and apologize and promise it meant nothing. I walked to the stairs. Where are you going? To tell the kids we're having a quiet night. They can order whatever they want for dinner. I paused. From their own accounts, not yours. Yours is about to get very busy. I left her sitting in the kitchen, covered in pizza sauce, while I headed upstairs to order the first round of rancid deliveries to apartment 314. Marco had given me the ammunition. The app had given me the proof. Now I was going to deliver some consequences. The pizza box hit the floor with a wet slap, sauce spreading across the tile like a crime scene. Jennifer stood frozen, marinara dripping from her cream blouse onto her gray pencil skirt, her mouth opening and closing without sound. You, she finally managed. You absolute. The Riverside Hotel, I said, keeping my voice level. Apartment 314, 3 to 4 times a week. You've been ordering dinner for 2 on your diet nights. Her face went through a fascinating progression. Shock, confusion. Then the exact moment the pieces clicked together. Her eyes widening, darting to the phone still in my hand, showing her delivery history. That's not. I can explain. Marco says hi, by the way. Nice guy. Very chatty. Apparently you tip well when you answer the door in a robe. The color drained from her face. She grabbed for the kitchen towel, dabbing uselessly at the sauce staining her shirt. David, this is insane. You're listening to some random delivery driver? You can't seriously. I turned the phone toward her. January 14th. Riverside Hotel 314. Large pepperoni, breadsticks. January 16th. Same address. January 19th. January 23rd. I scrolled. Should I keep going? There's 3 months of this. She lunged for the phone. I pulled it back, my other hand coming up in warning. Don't. Something in my voice stopped her. We stood there in our kitchen, the kitchen where we'd made breakfast together that morning, where Emma had complained about her math homework, where Tyler had spilled orange juice and we'd both laughed. And I watched my wife of 16 years realize she was caught. It's not what you think, she said, her voice smaller now. Blake and we're just. I know exactly what you are. I pocketed her phone. I've read the messages, Jennifer. All of them. The hotel room. The things you do there. The things you say to him. Her hand flew to her mouth. You went through my phone? The audacity of it almost made me laugh. You left it unlocked on the counter, next to our daughter, with a message calling him baby and talking about what you wanted to do to his. I stopped myself. Yeah, I went through your phone. You had no right. I had every right. My voice stayed calm. That was the thing that seemed to unsettle her most. How calm I was. You're my wife, or you were. Past tense now, I think. David, please. She stepped toward me, hands out, sauce still dripping from her fingers. Can we just talk about this, like adults? I made a mistake, okay? I was weak and lonely, and you're always working and Stop. And Blake made me feel wanted again. Made me feel, Jennifer, stop talking. She stopped. I pulled out my own phone, opened her delivery app. I'd logged in hours ago while she was at the gym. Here's what's going to happen. I'm going to order some food. To Blake's address. Her eyes narrowed. What are you? The Riverside doesn't deliver past 11, but I found Blake's actual apartment. 2847 Ocean View Drive, Unit 12. Nice place. I'm sure you've been there too. You can't. I can. It's your account, your credit card. And I'm going to order some very specific items. I started typing. Extra anchovies, pineapple, jalapenos, maybe some of that garlic sauce that comes in the little cups, the kind that goes bad if you leave it out. She grabbed for my phone. I sidestepped her easily. Actually, I continued, I'm going to order a lot of food. Multiple pizzas, different toppings, some breadsticks, wings, all to Blake's address. Tonight, tomorrow, the next night, every night this week. That's childish. And I'm going to make sure some of that food is questionable. Maybe I'll call the pizzeria first. Mention that my last order tasted off, that I got sick, that maybe they should check their ingredients. Then I'll order again anyway, to the same address, and mention it again. Understanding dawned on her face. You're trying to get him in trouble with the health department. Not trying, going to. I met her eyes. See, when the same address keeps ordering food, keeps complaining, keeps having issues, the health department gets involved. They investigate. They find violations, real or encouraged. And then that address gets flagged, banned from delivery services. Maybe the whole building, if the violations are serious enough. That's insane. But her voice wavered. That's justice. I pocketed both phones. You used food deliveries to feed your affair. Seemed fitting to use them to end it. Blake didn't do anything wrong. Blake screwed a married woman in a hotel room 3 times a week for 3 months. Blake doesn't get to walk away clean. She was shaking now, whether from anger or fear I couldn't tell. And me? What's my punishment? Divorce. The word came out flat. Final. I've already called an attorney. Meeting's tomorrow. You'll be served by Friday. You can't. The kids will be fine. Better than fine, actually, once they're away from a mother who lies to their faces every night. I moved toward the stairs. I'm sleeping in the guest room. You can clean up the pizza. David, wait. I stopped on the 3rd step, didn't turn around. This doesn't have to be like this, she said, her voice breaking. We can work through this. Counseling. I'll end things with Blake. We can fix this. You answered the hotel room door in a robe, I said quietly. While our daughter was home doing homework, while our son was at soccer practice, while I was working to pay for the house and the cars and the life you couldn't wait to throw away for some 28-year-old with good abs. Please, clean up the pizza, Jennifer. I went upstairs. The guest room smelled like dust and the lavender sachets Jennifer had put in the closet 2 Christmases ago. I sat on the bed, the one we'd bought for when her parents visited, before her father died and her mother moved to Arizona, and pulled out both phones. Her delivery app was still open on mine. Blake's address already entered. My finger hovered over the order button. The smart thing would be to wait. To let the attorney handle everything. To take the high road, be the bigger person. All those phrases people say when they mean, let her get away with it. But I kept seeing Marco's face at the door. The knowing look. The way he'd said, the young guy. The casual certainty that everyone knew except me. How many other people knew? How many delivery drivers, hotel staff, gym employees? How many times had I been the idiot husband, oblivious while his wife carried on? I pressed order. Large pizza, extra anchovies, pineapple, jalapenos, garlic sauce. Delivery to 2847 Ocean View Drive, Unit 12. charged to Jennifer's card. Then I opened my own phone and called Giovanni's Pizzeria. Different place from Marco's. Better reviews. More particular about their reputation. Giovanni's, this is Tommy speaking. Hi, Tommy. I ordered from you guys last week and I need to report something. Oh no, what happened? The garlic sauce tasted off. Made me pretty sick. I'm not trying to cause trouble, but I thought you should know. Food safety and all. Silence on the other end. Then, I'm really sorry to hear that, sir. Can you give me your order number? I don't have it handy, but it was delivered to 2847 Ocean View Drive, Unit 12, last Thursday around 8. More silence. Keyboard clicking. I'm not showing an order to that address last Thursday. Huh, maybe it was Wednesday? I've been pretty out of it since I got sick. Sir, I'm not showing any recent orders to that address at all. Perfect. Oh, maybe I'm thinking of a different place. Sorry, my mistake. No problem. But if you did order from us and had an issue, we take that very seriously. We'd want to investigate. I appreciate that. Actually, you know what? I'm going to order from you guys tonight. Same address. If the food's good, then I must have been thinking of somewhere else. We'll make sure it's perfect, sir. What can I get you? I ordered another pizza. Different toppings, same address, same credit card, Jennifer's. Then I called a third place, and a fourth. By the time I finished, Blake was getting 5 pizzas tonight. From 5 different restaurants. All charged to Jennifer's account. All to his address. And I'd planted seeds of concern about food safety at 3 of them. Tomorrow I'd call the health department myself. Anonymous tip. Possible food poisoning from multiple establishments, all delivering to the same address. Suspicious pattern. Worth investigating. The health department loved patterns. My phone buzzed. Jennifer, texting from downstairs. We need to talk about this. I didn't respond. David, please. I love you. It was a mistake. Please don't do this to our family. I turned the phone face down and lay back on the bed. Downstairs, I heard her crying. Soft at first, then harder. The sound carried through the vents, filled the guest room. I closed my eyes and listened to my wife fall apart, and felt absolutely nothing. The first pizza arrived at Blake Sutton's apartment at 11:47 p.m. I knew because I was parked 3 buildings down in the visitor lot, watching through the windshield of my Accord. The delivery driver, not Marco, someone younger, checked his phone twice before knocking on the door of Unit 2B. Blake's actual apartment, not the hotel room where he'd been playing house with my wife. The door opened. Blake stood there in gym shorts and nothing else. All those muscles on display even at midnight. He looked confused, then annoyed. The driver showed him the receipt on his phone. Blake shook his head, gestured emphatically. No, he hadn't ordered anything. The driver made a call, probably to the restaurant. After 2 minutes of conversation and Blake's increasingly irritated gestures, the driver left with the pizza. Blake slammed the door. I marked it down in my notes. Pizza Palace, 11:47 p.m., large pepperoni with anchovies. Delivery rejected. The second one came from Tony's at 12:23 a.m. Same routine, different driver, same confusion. This time Blake didn't even open the door all the way, just cracked it, saw the pizza box and shut it in the guy's face. The driver stood there for 30 seconds, then called his manager, then left. I'd ordered 6 more for throughout the night, all from different places, all on Jennifer's account with her saved credit card. By 3 a.m., Blake would be getting calls from restaurants asking him to stop pranking them. By morning, he'd be furious. My phone buzzed. Jennifer, please come back to bed. We need to talk. I deleted it. Another buzz. David, I know you're angry, but this is childish. I turned the phone face down on the passenger seat. The third delivery arrived at 1:15 a.m. This driver actually argued with Blake through the door. I could hear raised voices even from the parking lot. Blake finally opened up, shirtless and red-faced, and told the driver exactly where he could shove his pizza. The driver, a heavy-set guy in his 50s, didn't appreciate the language. They stood there shouting at each other for 2 full minutes before someone from a neighboring apartment came out and told them both to shut up. I smiled. The fourth delivery came at 2:08 a.m. Blake didn't answer. The driver knocked 3 times, called the number on the order, Jennifer's cell, and finally left the pizza on the doormat. Free food for whoever found it first. At 3:30 a.m., I drove home. Jennifer's car sat in the driveway, exactly where she'd left it. The house was dark except for the porch light. I parked on the street instead of pulling in, then let myself in through the front door as quietly as possible. The kitchen was clean. She'd wiped down the counter where the pizza had landed, thrown away the box, even mopped the floor. The only evidence of what happened was her cream blouse draped over the back of a chair, the sauce stain spread across the front like a blood stain. I took a photo of it. Then I went to my laptop and started drafting the health department complaints. The county health department website made it surprisingly easy. Anonymous complaints, online submission form, promised investigation within 5 business days. I filled out 3 separate reports, each from a different fake email address I'd created. First complaint: food poisoning from pizza delivered to Blake's address. Severe gastrointestinal distress, possible salmonella. I named Pizza Palace specifically, mentioned the anchovies, described symptoms in detail copied from a medical website. Second complaint: found foreign object in pizza from Tony's. Piece of metal could have caused serious injury. Delivery to same address. Requested immediate kitchen inspection. Third complaint: delivery driver from Sal's Pizzeria appeared intoxicated, nearly caused accident on Residential Street near Blake's building. Public safety concern. I submitted all 3 at 4:17 a.m. Then I went to Yelp, Google Reviews, and Facebook. Created new accounts, took 15 minutes each with the verification steps, and started posting. 1-star reviews for every pizzeria that delivered to Blake's zip code. Different writing styles for each, different complaints, but all mentioning the same general area. Ordered delivery to Maple Gardens Apartments, pizza arrived cold, and driver was rude. Terrible service in the Maple Gardens area. Won't be ordering again. If you live near Maple Gardens, don't bother. They clearly don't care about customers in this neighborhood. 17 reviews total, spread across 8 different restaurants, posted between 4:30 and 5:45 a.m. My eyes burned. My back ached from sitting hunched over the laptop. But I wasn't done. I pulled up Jennifer's delivery app account, still logged in on my phone from yesterday, and changed the default delivery address to Blake's apartment. Then I scheduled orders. Breakfast pizza from 3 different places, all set to arrive between 7 and 8 a.m. Lunch orders for noon. Dinner for 6 p.m. All on her credit card. All to Blake's door. I set calendar reminders to do the same thing tomorrow, and the next day, and the day after that. Jennifer came down at 6:15 a.m. I was at the kitchen table with coffee and my laptop, looking through the divorce attorney's intake form I'd found online. She stopped in the doorway, wearing her robe, her hair loose around her shoulders. Her eyes were red. "Did you sleep at all?" she asked. "No." "David, the kids will be up soon," I said. "We should probably figure out what we're telling them." She pulled out a chair and sat down across from me. "We don't have to tell them anything yet. We can work through this first, just the 2 of us." "There's nothing to work through." 16 years. "Means nothing," I said. "You made that clear." She reached across the table toward my hand. I pulled it back. "I made a mistake," she said. "A terrible mistake. But it's over. I ended it. Last night, I texted Blake and told him we're done." I looked at her. "You texted him?" "Yes." "Last night?" "Yes. After you..." After dinner. I told him it was over, that I'm committed to saving our marriage. I opened my phone, pulled up her message history with gym trainer, and slid it across the table. The last message was from 11:52 p.m. I don't know what's happening, but someone keeps sending pizzas to my place. Is this you? No response from Jennifer. I pulled the phone back. You didn't text him. I did. I deleted it. I didn't want... Stop lying. My voice came out flat. Just stop. Every word out of your mouth is a lie. You lie about where you're going, who you're with, what you're doing. You lie about ending it. You probably lie about what you had for lunch. That's not fair. Fair? I laughed. It sounded wrong. You want to talk about fair? Footsteps on the stairs. Emma, heading down for breakfast. Jennifer's face shifted immediately, rearranging itself into something approaching normal. The transformation was fascinating, like watching someone put on a mask. Morning, sweetheart, she said as Emma walked in. Emma grunted, went straight for the refrigerator. 13 years old and already fluent in teenage nonverbal communication. Your father and I were just talking about maybe doing something fun this weekend, Jennifer said. As a family, maybe that new escape room place? Emma pulled out the orange juice. Can Maddie come? We'll see. I stood up, closed my laptop. I have to get ready for work. Jennifer's eyes followed me. Can we talk more tonight? No. I left her sitting there, still wearing her mask, still pretending everything was fine. At 7:23 a.m., while I was in the shower, my phone buzzed with a notification. Blake had posted on Instagram. I checked it while getting dressed. A photo of his doormat, covered in pizza boxes. The caption: When your crazy ex won't take a hint. This is harassment. I'm calling the cops. 43 likes already. Comments rolling in. Dude, that's psycho. Report her. What did you do to her, lol? I screenshotted it. Added it to the folder on my laptop labeled evidence. Then I texted the number for Robert Hayes, my college roommate, and the only divorce attorney I actually knew personally. Need to talk. How soon can you meet? His response came back in 30 seconds. That bad? Worse. Lunch. Sal's on 5th. Noon. I paused, fingers hovering over the keyboard. Sal's Pizzeria. One of the places I just filed a health complaint against. Different place. You pick. Nervous about my taste in pizza? Fine. Baxter's Grill. See you there. I set the phone down and finished knotting my tie. Downstairs, Jennifer was making Emma's lunch. Tyler sat at the table with his iPad, watching videos with his headphones in. Normal Tuesday morning, normal family. Except I couldn't look at any of them without my chest tightening. Jennifer glanced up as I grabbed my keys. David. I'll be late tonight, I said. Don't wait up. I walked out before she could respond. The doorbell rang at 2:47 a.m. I was still awake, sitting in the dark living room with my laptop open, watching the tracking updates roll in. Pizza number 12 had just been delivered to Blake's apartment. Jennifer was upstairs, probably not sleeping either. I didn't move to answer it. The doorbell rang again. Then my phone buzzed. Unknown number. Mr. Parker? It's Marco. I'm at your door. We need to talk. That got my attention. I crossed to the front door and opened it. Marco stood on my porch in street clothes, jeans and a Miami Heat t-shirt. No pizza bag, no delivery car idling at the curb, just him, looking uncomfortable and determined. Little late for a delivery, I said. I'm not working. He shifted his weight. Look, man, I need to tell you something. Can I come in? I stepped aside. He walked into my foyer, glancing around like he was casing the place. Probably wondering if Jennifer was about to appear. She's upstairs, I said. What's this about? Marco ran a hand through his hair. Okay, so you know how I told you about the deliveries to that hotel and the guy's apartment? I remember. Right. Well, tonight at work, I just got off my shift. My manager pulled me aside, said someone filed a complaint about me. I closed the front door. What kind of complaint? Harassment, invasion of privacy, sharing customer information. He looked at me directly. The complaint came from a Jennifer Parker, your wife. She's saying I told you about her delivery addresses and that I had no right to do that. My jaw tightened. When did she file this? Couple hours ago, I guess. Manager got an email. She's threatening to sue the pizzeria and me personally for violating her privacy rights. Says I caused problems in her marriage by disclosing confidential delivery information. Of course she did. Jennifer was nothing if not strategic. Attack the messenger, control the narrative, find someone else to blame. I'm sorry, I said. I'll handle it. That's not why I'm here. Marco shook his head. I mean, yeah, I'm worried about my job. But that's not the main thing. The thing is, there's more. I waited. When I saw the complaint, I went back through our delivery system. Not just your wife's orders. All the orders to those addresses, the hotel room, the apartment. He pulled out his phone, scrolled through something. Mr. Parker, your wife isn't the only one who's been ordering to those places. What do you mean? I mean, there's another account. Different name, different credit card, but same delivery addresses, same time patterns. Sometimes ordering within minutes of your wife's orders. My stomach dropped. Show me. He turned his phone toward me. I saw a screenshot of a delivery record. Customer name, Patricia Carter. Delivery address, Riverside Hotel, room 314. Order time, Thursday, 8:47 p.m. 2 pizzas, breadsticks, wings. I scrolled to the next screenshot. Same customer name. Different address, Blake's apartment. Order time, Tuesday, 7:15 p.m. Who's Patricia Carter? I asked. No idea, but look at the payment method. He zoomed in on the credit card number. Last 4 digits, 7829. That mean anything to you? It didn't. Not immediately. Then something clicked. Can you see the full name on the card? System only shows last 4 digits for security, but he swiped to another screenshot. I pulled up the delivery notes. One time the driver wrote that Patricia Carter answered the door. Described her as blonde lady, maybe 40, wearing a robe. Jennifer. She's using a fake name, I said quietly. A second account. That's what I figured. And here's the thing. This Patricia Carter account? It's been active for way longer than 3 months. I found orders going back almost 2 years. The floor seemed to tilt beneath me. 2 years. Not 3 months. 2 years. You're sure? Marco nodded. First order I found was March of 2 years ago. Same hotel. Can't tell if it was the same room number because the system doesn't keep that detail for old orders. But same hotel, same pattern. Then nothing for a while. Then it picks up again about 8 months ago. Regular orders every week, sometimes twice a week. I sat down on the stairs. Tried to process this. The affair wasn't 3 months old. The text messages I'd found only went back 3 months because Jennifer had probably deleted the older ones. But the relationship, whatever this was, had been going on for 2 years. 2 years of lies. 2 years of her coming home and kissing our children goodnight after being with him. 2 years of me planning our future while she built a separate life. There's one more thing, Marco said. He looked genuinely apologetic now. The orders to the apartment, Blake's place, those only started about 4 months ago. Before that, all the Patricia Carter orders went to the hotel. Meaning what? Meaning either she was meeting someone else at the hotel before Blake or... He trailed off. Or Blake lived at the hotel first and then moved to the apartment, I finished. Marco nodded. My guess? They met at his gym, started hooking up at the hotel, and when he got his own place, they moved the party there, but kept the hotel for variety sometimes. I stood up, walked to the window. Outside, my street was dark and quiet. Normal suburban houses with normal suburban families sleeping normal suburban sleeps. Except nothing was normal. Nothing had been normal for 2 years. "Why are you telling me this?" I asked. "You could lose your job." "Probably will anyway. Your wife's complaint is pretty detailed." "But," he shrugged, "I've got a wife too. 3-year-old daughter. If someone knew my wife was doing this to me, I'd want them to tell me, even if it cost them something." I turned back to him. "I'll write a statement. Say I pressured you for information that you tried to protect customer privacy, but I was aggressive. Make it clear you were put in a difficult position." "You don't have to. I do. This isn't your fault, and I'm going to make sure the pizzeria knows that." I pulled out my phone. "Can you send me those screenshots?" He hesitated. "That's definitely against policy." "Marco, she's trying to destroy your livelihood to cover her tracks. Send me the screenshots." He did. My phone buzzed repeatedly as the images came through. Dozens of delivery records. 2 years of evidence. A pattern so clear, so deliberate, so sustained that it made the affair I discovered look like a brief indiscretion by comparison. This was a second life. Carefully constructed, meticulously maintained. "One question," I said. "These orders to Blake's apartment. Any of them in the last couple days?" Marco checked his phone. "Last one was Sunday night. Nothing since then." Sunday. The day before I'd confronted her. Before she'd claimed the affair was over. Maybe she was telling the truth about that part. Or maybe she was just being more careful. "Thank you," I said. "Seriously, this... Thank you." Marco headed toward the door, then paused. "The pizzas you ordered tonight, to Blake's place. That was you getting back at him, right?" "Yeah." "Figured. For what it's worth, the guys at the shop think it's hilarious. Nobody likes that guy. He's rude every time we deliver." He grinned. "Plus the health department thing? Chef's kiss. Literally." After he left, I sat back down with my laptop and opened the screenshots. Studied them one by one. Patricia Carter. She'd even given herself a fake name. Not just a burner account, a whole alternate identity. I wondered what other accounts she had, what other names, what other credit cards I didn't know about. My phone buzzed. A text from the divorce attorney's office confirming my Friday appointment. I replied with a thumbs up, then opened a new message to the attorney directly. "David Parker. Need to add something to the documentation. Discovered the affair goes back much further than initially believed. We'll have proof at our meeting." The response came within minutes, despite the late hour. Attorney. "Understood. Bring everything you have. Timeline matters for asset division and custody considerations." I looked up at the ceiling. Jennifer was up there somewhere, probably crafting her next move. Filing complaints against pizza delivery drivers, deleting more evidence, building her defense. But she'd made a mistake. She'd created a digital trail that went back 2 years. And she'd picked a fight with someone who had access to that trail. I opened my email and started typing. Subject line: formal statement regarding customer privacy complaint. If Jennifer wanted to weaponize the legal system, I'd show her how that worked both ways. My phone buzzed again. Another delivery confirmation. Pizza number 13 had arrived at Blake's apartment. I smiled in the darkness. The night was young and I was just getting started. The text came in at 11:47 p.m., 3 days after Marco dropped his bombshell about the 2-year timeline. "We need to talk. Tomorrow, noon. Starbucks on Maple." Blake's number. I'd saved it from Jennifer's phone weeks ago, back when I thought I knew the full scope of her betrayal. Back when I believed it was just 3 months. I stared at the message for a solid minute, My first instinct was to ignore it, block the number, let my attorney handle everything. But curiosity got the better of me. What could this guy possibly want to say? Fine. One word. That's all he deserved. I didn't sleep much that night. Jennifer was staying at her sister's place, had been since the pizza incident. The house felt too quiet without the kids, who were with her for the week per our temporary arrangement. Emma kept texting me questions I couldn't answer yet. Tyler just sent me pictures of his Lego builds, like everything was normal. Nothing was normal. The Starbucks was crowded when I arrived at 11:55. I spotted Blake immediately. Hard to miss someone who looked like they'd walked off a fitness magazine cover. He sat in the back corner, baseball cap pulled low, sunglasses on despite being indoors. Real subtle. I ordered a black coffee and walked over. Didn't sit down. "You've got 5 minutes," I said. He looked up, pulled off the sunglasses. The guy looked terrible. Dark circles under his eyes, face drawn. "Good. Sit, please." I remained standing. Blake ran a hand through his hair. "Look, I know you hate me. You should. But I need you to know something. I don't need to know anything from you. She told me you were separated." The words came out in a rush. "When we met, she said you'd been living apart for 6 months, that the divorce was already in progress, that you were seeing someone else." I laughed. Couldn't help it. The sound came out bitter and sharp. "And you believed her?" I had no reason not to. She showed me apartment listings, said she was looking for a place after the divorce finalized. She talked about custody arrangements, splitting assets. It all seemed, he trailed off, convenient, real. It seemed real. He leaned forward. "I'm not making excuses. When I found out the truth," when was that? 2 weeks ago. I saw her wedding ring in her purse. She'd taken it off before coming to see me, but I saw it. Confronted her. She broke down, admitted everything. Said she'd been trying to find the right time to tell me. I did the math. 2 weeks ago, right around when Marco first tipped me off about the deliveries. The timeline was starting to make sense. "So you dumped her?" Immediately, Blake's jaw tightened. "I don't do that. My parents divorced because my dad cheated on my mom. I watched what it did to her. I would never—" He stopped, shook his head. "But I did. I'm the other man in someone else's story now." The coffee was burning my hand through the cup. I set it down on the table, still didn't sit. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because she's not done lying." Blake pulled out his phone, tapped the screen a few times, then slid it across the table. This came in yesterday. I looked at the screen. A text from Jennifer. "He's losing it. Filed a restraining order against me. My lawyer says he's trying to claim I abandoned the kids. You need to tell them the truth about us, that we were together before the separation. Please, Blake, I need you to testify that I told you we were separated." My hands clenched. She wants you to commit perjury. She wants me to help her rewrite history, make it look like you knew, like you were okay with it, like she's the victim here. Blake took his phone back. "I'm not doing it. But I thought you should know what she's planning." I finally sat down. The chair felt too small, the whole coffee shop suddenly too loud. A group of college kids laughed at a nearby table. Someone's phone rang. Normal life, continuing around me while mine imploded. "There's more," Blake said quietly. "The hotel room, 314. I didn't know about it until recently." "What do you mean?" "We never met there, ever. She always came to my apartment, or we'd go to her friend's condo in Coral Gables." He made air quotes. I'm guessing now that was another lie. But the hotel? That wasn't us. The coffee shop tilted slightly. I gripped the edge of the table. "You're saying—" "I'm saying I wasn't the first. And based on how smoothly she ran this whole operation, I probably wasn't the second either." Blake's voice was flat. The Patricia Carter account Marco mentioned? I asked her about it. She said it was for business lunches she didn't want expensed. But think about it. Why would she need a fake identity for 2 years if she was just hiding an affair with me that started 8 months ago? 8 months. Not 2 years. Not even the 3 months I'd initially believed. How long? My voice came out hoarse. We started seeing each other last July, met at the gym. She said she was new to the area, looking for a fresh start after her separation. He laughed, no humor in it. I actually felt bad for her. Thought I was helping her through a tough time. July. Emma's birthday party. Jennifer had been distant that whole month, said she was stressed about a work project. I'd planned a surprise party for Emma, and Jennifer had shown up late, claiming a client meeting ran over. The Riverside Hotel, I said. You really never went there with her? Never. I didn't even know she had a connection to the place until you... He stopped. Until the pizza thing. I heard about it from the delivery driver, Marco. He called me, asked if I knew what I'd gotten myself into. Marco called you? He's been delivering to that hotel for years. Recognized Jennifer from my apartment. Put 2 and 2 together. Blake pulled out his phone again, showed me another text. He sent me this. It was a photo. Jennifer, in a hotel robe, answering the door of room 314. But she wasn't alone. Behind her, barely visible in the frame, was a man. Dark hair, business suit draped over a chair. Not Blake. The photo was dated March 2023, a year ago. Marco's been documenting this? I asked. He said he started taking photos after the 3rd or 4th time he delivered there and saw different guys. Thought maybe it was something illegal. Kept the evidence just in case. Blake pocketed his phone. He's willing to give you everything he has, for a price. How much? $5,000. And you drop whatever you're planning against him regarding Jennifer's harassment complaint. I sat back. $5,000 for proof that my wife had been running a 2-year operation with multiple men. Evidence that would demolish any sympathy she might get in divorce court. Evidence that would guarantee me custody, the house, everything. Deal, I said. Blake nodded. He'll contact you. I gave him your number. Hope that's okay. It's fine. We sat in silence for a moment. The college kids left, their laughter fading. Someone dropped a cup, and the sound of shattering ceramic made everyone turn. For what it's worth, Blake said. I'm sorry. I know that doesn't mean much, but I am. She played both of us. She played a lot of people, apparently. Yeah. He stood up, put his sunglasses back on. My lawyer said Jennifer might try to sue me for something. Alienation of affection or whatever. Just so you know, I'm prepared to testify. Tell the truth about everything. When we met, what she told me. All of it. I'll let my attorney know. Blake hesitated, then reached into his pocket and pulled out a small flash drive. Set it on the table between us. What's this? Copies of everything. Our texts, emails, photos she sent me, timestamps on all of it. My lawyer made copies for discovery, but I thought you should have your own set. See what she was saying to me while she was lying to you. I picked up the drive. It felt heavy, heavier than it should. Why help me? Because she made me the villain in your marriage, in your kids' lives, and I didn't sign up for that. His voice was hard. I want her to face what she did. All of it. He left without another word. I sat there for another 20 minutes, turning the flash drive over in my fingers. Around me, people ordered lattes and caught up with friends and complained about work. Normal Tuesday afternoon stuff. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. This is Marco. Blake said you want to talk. I get off work at 9. Meet me at Dino's Pizza on 5th. Come alone. I typed back, I'll be there. Then I called Robert. I need you to do something, I said when he picked up. And you're not going to like it. Marco was waiting in a back booth at Dino's when I arrived at 9:15. The restaurant was nearly empty, just a couple at the counter and a teenager bussing tables. He'd already ordered, and 2 slices of pepperoni sat untouched on a paper plate in front of him. "You're late," he said. "Traffic." I slid into the booth across from him. "You have the photos?" He pulled out a manila envelope, thick with contents, but didn't hand it over. 5,000, cash, and a signed statement that I acted under duress when I disclosed customer information to you. I set a bank envelope on the table. 4,000 now. 1,000 after my attorney verifies the photos are admissible in court. That wasn't the deal. The deal changed when I realized you've been sitting on evidence of potential illegal activity for 2 years and did nothing. I leaned back. Makes me wonder what else you're hiding, or who else is paying you for your silence. Marco's jaw tightened. Then he laughed, shook his head. You're smarter than you look. Who else, Marco? He glanced around the empty restaurant, then pushed the envelope toward me. There were 3 regulars at that hotel room, your wife and 2 men. One was a lawyer. Saw his business card on the dresser once when your wife answered the door. Name was Stephen Caldwell. Works at Preston and Associates downtown. Stephen Caldwell, Jennifer's divorce attorney. The realization hit me like a physical blow. She'd been planning this for longer than I thought. The affair wasn't just about Blake or whoever came before him. It was about setting up her exit strategy, building a relationship with an attorney who could help her take everything in the divorce. The other guy? I asked. Didn't get a name, but he drove a black Mercedes, always wore expensive suits, showed up once, maybe twice a month. Last time I saw him was about 6 months ago. I opened the envelope. Inside were dozens of photos, all time-stamped, all showing Jennifer at that hotel room with different men. Some showed her answering the door. Others, taken from angles that suggested Marco had gotten creative with his documentation, showed her through the window, sitting on the bed, laughing, drinking wine. In one photo, she was kissing the man Marco identified as Stephen Caldwell. In another, she was with the Mercedes driver, his hand on her lower back as they entered the room. And in several, she was alone, checking her phone, looking at her watch, waiting. How did you get these? I asked. Hotel has a smoking area right outside that row of rooms. I'd deliver, then step out for a cigarette. The curtains were always open just enough. He shrugged. After the first few times, I started bringing my good camera. Telephoto lens. Got some real clear shots. This is borderline stalking. This is documentation. There's a difference. Marco leaned forward. Look, I'm not proud of it, but I've seen too many guys get screwed in divorce court because they couldn't prove what their wives were doing. My brother lost everything, house, kids, pension, because his ex claimed he was abusive and he had no evidence to counter it. I started keeping records after that, just in case. I looked through the photos again. Dates, times, faces. A pattern of behavior that went far beyond a simple affair. This was calculated, systematic. The lawyer, I said. Caldwell. You're sure that's who he is? Marco pulled out his phone, showed me a screenshot of a law firm website. Stephen Caldwell, partner, family law division. The photo matched the man in the hotel pictures. She was sleeping with her divorce attorney, I said quietly. Looks like it, which means anything she told him is probably tainted. Conflict of interest, right? Your lawyer will have a field day with this. He was right. If Jennifer had been in a relationship with Caldwell while he was advising her on divorce strategy, that was grounds for disbarment. It also meant anything he filed on her behalf could be challenged. I pulled out my phone and texted Robert. Need to talk. Tonight. Emergency. His response came immediately. My office. 1 hour. I looked at Marco. The 4,000. Take it. You've earned it. He took the cash, counted it quickly, then stood up. One more thing. The harassment complaint your wife filed against me? It got dismissed this morning. My manager said someone sent the pizzeria a legal letter explaining the situation. That was you? My attorney. Tell him thanks. Marco grabbed his jacket. And David? I hope you destroy her in court. She deserves it. After he left, I sat alone in the booth and went through every photo again, memorizing faces, dates, patterns, building a timeline in my head. 2 years. Multiple men. A divorce attorney on retainer who was also a lover. Blake was just the latest in a long line, and probably the only one who didn't know what he was getting into. My phone rang. Robert. Don't bother coming to the office, he said. I'm coming to you. Where are you? Dino's Pizza on 5th. Stay there, order me a slice, I'll be there in 10. He made it in 8. Robert slid into the booth, took one look at the envelope and let out a low whistle. Tell me that's what I think it is. I pushed it toward him. Photos, 2 years worth, multiple men, including her divorce attorney. Robert opened the envelope, started flipping through the contents. His expression went from curious to shocked to grimly satisfied. This is... David, this is everything. This is custody, asset division, alimony. She won't get a dime. The judge will crucify her. That's what I thought. Where did you get these? Pizza delivery driver. He's been documenting suspicious activity at the hotel for years. Robert looked up. Is he credible? Will he testify? For the right price, yes. We'll pay it. This is worth 10 times what he's asking. Robert pulled out his phone, started taking photos of the photos. I'm filing an emergency motion first thing tomorrow morning. Temporary full custody, restraining order, freeze on all joint accounts. She won't see this coming. She's already planning her defense, I said. She asked Blake to lie for her. Say they got together after we separated. Blake's willing to testify to the truth? Yes. He gave me a flash drive with all their communications. Timestamps prove they started in July, and she told him we were already separated. Robert sat back, a slow smile spreading across his face. She's done. Completely done. No judge will give her anything after seeing this. Adultery, fraud, conspiracy with her own attorney. David, you're going to walk away with everything. I should have felt triumphant. Vindicated. Something. Instead, I just felt tired. What about the kids? I asked. Robert's smile faded. That's the hard part. Emma's 13. Tyler's 10. They're old enough to understand something's wrong, but young enough that this could really mess them up. Jennifer's already poisoning them against me. Emma asked me yesterday why I was being so mean to Mom. We'll need a guardian ad litem, someone to represent the kids' interests independently, and probably therapy for both of them. Robert closed the envelope. This is going to get ugly, David. Are you prepared for that? I don't have a choice. You always have a choice. You could settle quietly, offer her a deal, she gets some custody, some assets, and in exchange she goes away without a fight. Saves the kids from seeing all this come out in court. I thought about Emma and Tyler. Thought about them sitting in a courtroom while lawyers discussed their mother's affairs. Thought about them reading about it someday, finding the court records, seeing the photos. Then I thought about Jennifer, sitting in her sister's house, planning her next move. Coaching Blake to lie, manipulating our children. Already rewriting history to make herself the victim. No deal, I said. She made her choices. Now she lives with them. Robert nodded slowly. Okay, then we go to war. The emergency hearing was set for Friday morning. Robert filed the motion Wednesday afternoon, and by Wednesday evening, my phone was exploding with texts from Jennifer. What did you do? My lawyer can't represent me anymore. What did you tell the Bar Association? You're trying to take my children away from me. How could you? David, please. We can still fix this. Don't do this to our family. I didn't respond to any of them. Thursday morning, a process server showed up at her sister's house with the restraining order. Jennifer was prohibited from coming within 500 feet of me or the kids until the hearing. She violated it within 3 hours, showing up at Emma's school during lunch. The school called me. I called the police. Jennifer was escorted off campus and given a warning. Emma called me crying that afternoon. "Dad, what's happening? Why can't I see Mom?" I was at work, standing in the parking lot, trying to figure out how to explain this. "Your mom and I are having some problems, sweetheart. The court needs to sort some things out." "But she said you're lying about her, that you're trying to turn us against her." "Of course she did. Emma, I promise you, everything I'm doing is to protect you and your brother. I know it doesn't feel like that right now, but you have to trust me. I don't understand any of this." Her voice broke. "I just want things to go back to normal." "I know, baby. I know." After we hung up, I sat in my car and let myself feel it. All of it. The anger, the grief, the crushing weight of knowing I was about to destroy my children's image of their mother because she'd left me no choice. Robert called it 6. Jennifer hired a new attorney, Patricia Bowen. She's good, aggressive. This just got harder. How much harder? She's filing a counter motion. Claims you've been abusive, that you're unstable, that the restraining order is retaliation for her trying to leave the marriage. She's asking for emergency custody. I closed my eyes. Based on what evidence? The pizza incident. She's claiming you assaulted her with food, that you've been harassing her boyfriend, that you've made threats. I dumped pizza on her after finding out about her affair. I know, and we'll argue that. But Bowen's going to paint you as volatile and dangerous. She's good at this, David. She wins cases she shouldn't win. Then we show the judge the photos, the timeline, everything. We will, but be prepared. This is going to be a fight. Friday morning, I wore my best suit and arrived at the courthouse 30 minutes early. Robert met me outside, briefcase in hand, looking grim. Jennifer's here. She brought the kids. She what? Emma and Tyler are in the hallway with her sister. Bowen's strategy is to make you look like the bad guy who's separating a mother from her children. I pushed through the courthouse doors. Sure enough, Jennifer sat on a bench outside the courtroom, Emma and Tyler on either side of her. She was wearing a conservative dress, minimal makeup, her hair pulled back. The picture of a devoted mother. Emma saw me first. Her expression was confused, hurt. Tyler just looked scared. I walked over. You're violating the restraining order by being here with the kids. Jennifer's attorney, a sharp-faced woman in her 50s, stepped between us. My client has every right to be present at a hearing concerning her children. The restraining order doesn't prevent her from attending court proceedings. It prevents her from being near them unsupervised. Her sister is here. That constitutes supervision. Bowen smiled. Unless you'd like to file a contempt motion and delay the hearing? I'm sure the judge would love to hear how you're using legal technicalities to keep a mother from her children. Robert put a hand on my arm. Don't engage. Let's go inside. The courtroom was smaller than I expected. Judge William Torres presided, a gray-haired man in his 60s with a reputation for being fair but no nonsense. He looked over his glasses as we entered. This is Parker versus Parker? He asked. Yes, Your Honor, Robert said. And we have competing emergency motions. Mr. Hayes, you filed first. Make your case. Robert stood. Your Honor, we're seeking temporary full custody and a freeze on marital assets based on evidence of adultery, fraud, and conspiracy. Mrs. Parker has been engaged in multiple extramarital affairs over a 2-year period, including a relationship with her divorce attorney, which constitutes a conflict of interest and potential legal malpractice. Bowen shot to her feet. Your Honor, These are serious allegations with no substantiated evidence. Mr. Parker is engaged in a campaign of harassment against my client because she attempted to leave an abusive marriage. I have evidence, Robert said calmly. He pulled out the manila envelope. Photographic documentation of Mrs. Parker's activities over a 24-month period. Time-stamped images showing her with multiple partners, including Stephen Caldwell of Preston and Associates, who was simultaneously representing her in divorce proceedings. Judge Torres held out his hand. Let me see. Robert approached the bench and handed over a selection of photos. The judge studied them, his expression growing darker with each image. Mrs. Bowen, approach. Bowen walked up, looked at the photos, and her face went pale. Your Honor, the provenance of these images is questionable. We don't know who took them, under what circumstances. They're time-stamped, the judge said flatly, and they appear to show your client in various states of intimacy with multiple individuals, including an attorney. Is Mr. Caldwell still representing Mrs. Parker? He withdrew from the case Wednesday, Your Honor. I can see why. Judge Torres set the photos down. Mrs. Bowen, does your client wish to contest the authenticity of these images? Bowen looked back at Jennifer, who sat frozen in her seat. We need time to review them properly, Your Honor. You have 30 seconds. Bowen walked back to Jennifer, and they had a whispered conversation. I watched Jennifer's face cycle through emotions: shock, fear, anger, resignation. Finally, Bowen returned to the podium. Your Honor, we don't contest the images are of my client. However, we maintain that Mr. Parker's behavior in response to discovering the affair has been erratic and potentially dangerous. He assaulted Mrs. Parker with food, he's been harassing her associates, and he's filed frivolous complaints against innocent third parties. The pizza incident, Judge Torres said dryly. Yes, I read about that in your filing. Mr. Parker, did you dump pizza on your wife? I stood. Yes, Your Honor. After discovering she'd been having an affair and using food delivery services to coordinate meetings with her lover. And the harassment of associates? I ordered pizza to her boyfriend's address, multiple times, as a way of expressing my displeasure with the situation. A brief smile flickered across the judge's face, then disappeared. While creative, Mr. Parker, that does constitute harassment. However, given the circumstances, he looked at the photos again. Mrs. Bowen, I'm not seeing evidence of abuse here. I'm seeing evidence of a man who discovered his wife's infidelity and reacted poorly but not violently. Your Honor, I'm granting Mr. Parker's motion for temporary full custody. Mrs. Parker will have supervised visitation twice weekly until we can schedule a full hearing. I'm also freezing all marital assets pending discovery. He looked directly at Jennifer. Mrs. Parker, you're to have no contact with Stephen Caldwell or any other individual shown in these photographs. Violation of this order will result in contempt charges. Do you understand? Jennifer stood, her voice barely a whisper. Yes, Your Honor. Good. Full hearing is set for 6 weeks from today. Both parties are to engage in good faith discovery. Mr. Parker, no more pizza deliveries. Mrs. Parker, no more hotel rooms. Are we clear? Yes, Your Honor, we said in unison. The gavel came down. Outside the courtroom, Emma and Tyler stood with Jennifer's sister, both of them crying. Jennifer pushed past me, went straight to them, wrapped them in her arms. It's okay, babies. It's going to be okay. Mommy loves you so much. Emma pulled away. Why can't we come home with you? Because your father is being very unfair right now. But we're going to fix this, I promise. Mrs. Parker, Robert's voice was sharp. You're violating the spirit of the judge's order. Step away from the children. Jennifer's sister, Karen, glared at us. She's saying goodbye to her kids. You going to arrest her for that? No, I said quietly. But she needs to let them go. Now. Jennifer kissed both kids on the forehead, then stepped back. I'll see you Tuesday for our visit. I love you both so much. Tyler ran to me, buried his face in my jacket. Emma stood frozen between us, looking lost. Come on, Emma, I said gently. Let's go home. I don't want to go with you. Her voice was small but defiant. I want to stay with Mom. I know, sweetheart, but the judge said you need to come with me for now. The judge is wrong. You're wrong. Mom didn't do anything bad. Jennifer started crying then. Real tears streaming down her face. Emma, baby, it's okay. Go with your father. Be good for him. I'll see you soon. Emma finally moved, but she wouldn't look at me. Just walked past, her shoulders rigid with anger and hurt. The drive home was silent except for Tyler's quiet sniffling in the back seat. Emma stared out the window, arms crossed, radiating fury. When we got to the house, she went straight to her room and slammed the door. Tyler followed me to the kitchen, his face blotchy from crying. Dad, are you and Mom getting divorced? I knelt down to his level. Yeah, buddy, we are. Because she was with other people? My chest tightened. You heard that? Emma told me. She heard you and Mom fighting. He wiped his nose. Is it true? I couldn't lie to him. Wouldn't? Yes, it's true. Did you really throw pizza at her? I did. I was very angry and I made a bad choice. I shouldn't have done that. But she made a bad choice first. She did. But that doesn't make what I did okay. I pulled him into a hug. Tyler, I know this is scary and confusing, but I promise you, no matter what happens with Mom and me, we both love you and Emma very much. That will never change. Can I still see Mom? Yes, twice a week, and we'll talk on the phone whenever you want. He nodded against my shoulder. Okay. Emma didn't come out of her room for dinner. I brought a plate up, knocked on her door. Em, you need to eat something. Go away. I'm leaving food outside your door. Please eat it. No response. I set the plate down and went back downstairs. Tyler was in the living room, building a Lego set, trying to pretend everything was normal. I sat next to him, helped him find pieces, and tried not to think about how badly I'd just broken my daughter's heart. The next 6 weeks were brutal. Emma barely spoke to me. She went to school, came home, did her homework, and spent every free minute on the phone with Jennifer. The court-ordered supervised visits happened at a family counseling center, and each time I dropped the kids off, Emma would run to Jennifer without looking back. Tyler would hesitate, give me a guilty look, then follow his sister. The counselor, a kind woman named Dr. Lisa Grant, called me after the third visit. Mr. Parker, we need to talk about Emma. How bad is it? She's very angry with you. She feels you've taken her mother away unfairly. Mrs. Parker isn't helping. She's been making comments during the visits about how much she misses them, how hard this is on her, how she hopes it will be over soon. That's parental alienation. It is. And I've documented it. But David, you need to understand. Emma is 13. She's old enough to have strong opinions about this situation, and right now, those opinions are very much in her mother's favor. What do I do? Keep being present. Keep being patient. Don't badmouth her mother, no matter how tempting it is. And consider letting Emma read a letter from you. Something explaining your side, but also acknowledging her feelings. I wrote the letter that night, rewrote it 5 times. Finally settled on something that felt honest without being cruel. Dear Emma, I know you're angry with me. You have every right to be. Your whole world has been turned upside down, and from your perspective, I'm the one who did it. I want you to understand something. I didn't want this. I didn't want our family to break apart. I didn't want you and Tyler to be caught in the middle of adult problems. But when I discovered that Mom had been lying to me for a very long time, I had to make a choice. I could pretend I didn't know, keep our family together on the surface and let the lies continue. Or I could face the truth, even though it meant everything would change. I chose the truth, not because I wanted to hurt Mom, and definitely not because I wanted to hurt you and Tyler, but because I believe you both deserve to grow up in a home where people are honest with each other, where trust means something, where love isn't just words but actions that match those words. Your mom made choices that broke our family. I made choices in how I responded that weren't always right, like the pizza incident, which I truly regret. But the divorce itself, that's not something I'm doing to you. It's something I'm doing for you, even if you can't see that right now. I love you, Emma, more than you know, and I'm going to keep loving you, even when you're angry with me, even when you don't want to talk to me, even when you think I'm the villain in this story. One day, when you're older, I hope you'll understand. Until then, I'm here. Always. Love, Dad. I gave it to Dr. Grant to give to Emma during their next session. I don't know if she read it. She never mentioned it. But 2 days later, she came down for breakfast and actually looked at me. "Can I ask you something?" she said. "Anything." "Did Mom really... Was she with a lot of different people?" I measured my words carefully. "Yes." "For how long?" "A long time, honey." "And you didn't know?" "Not until recently." She was quiet for a moment, pushing cereal around in her bowl. "Maddie's parents got divorced last year. Her mom cheated on her dad. Maddie said it was really bad for a while, but now it's better. They have 2 houses and her dad is happier. Maddie sounds like a smart kid. She said her dad tried to stay for her and her brother, but it just made everyone miserable." Emma looked up at me. "Is that what you were doing? Staying for us?" "I was staying because I loved our family. But sometimes love isn't enough to fix what's broken." She nodded slowly. "I'm still mad at you." "I know. But I'm mad at Mom too." "That's okay." "Is it? She's my mom. I'm not supposed to be mad at her." I reached across the table, and for the first time in weeks, Emma didn't pull away when I took her hand. "You're allowed to feel however you feel, Em. Angry, sad, confused, all of it. There's no right or wrong way to handle this." Dr. Grant said the same thing. Dr. Grant is smart. Emma almost smiled. "She said you're doing a good job for a dad going through a divorce." "She said that?" "Yeah. She said most dads either disappear or fight dirty, but you're trying to do it right." Emma squeezed my hand. "Are you? Trying to do it right?" "Every day, sweetheart. Every single day." The final hearing came on a cold morning in November. 6 weeks had stretched into 8 because of scheduling conflicts, but finally, we were back in Judge Torres's courtroom. This time, it was packed. Jennifer's family filled one side: her sister, her mother, a few cousins. My side had Robert, my brother Michael, who'd flown in from Oregon, and Marco, who'd agreed to testify. Jennifer looked different, thinner, older. The stress had carved lines into her face that hadn't been there before. She sat next to Patricia Bowen, her hands clasped tightly in her lap. Judge Torres entered, and we all stood. "Let's make this quick," he said. "I've reviewed all the discovery, all the depositions, all the evidence. Mrs. Bowen, do you have anything new to present?" "No, Your Honor. We maintain that while Mrs. Parker made mistakes, she's still a fit parent who deserves joint custody and her fair share of marital assets." "Mr. Hayes?" Robert stood. "Your Honor, we have testimony from Mr. Marco Delgado, who documented Mrs. Parker's activities over a 2-year period. We also have testimony from Mr. Blake Sutton, one of Mrs. Parker's former paramours, who will attest to her pattern of deception." "Call your witnesses." Marco went first. He was nervous but clear, explaining how he'd noticed the pattern of deliveries, how he'd started documenting them, how he'd eventually connected the dots. Bowen tried to shake him on cross-examination, suggesting he was a stalker, but Marco held firm. I deliver pizza for a living, ma'am. I see a lot of things. When I see something that looks wrong, I pay attention. That's not stalking. That's being observant. Blake testified next. He was calm, factual, devastating. He described how Jennifer had told him I was abusive, that we were separated, that she was looking for a fresh start. He produced text messages, emails, photos she'd sent him. The timeline was irrefutable. When Robert was done, Bowen stood for cross-examination. Mr. Sutton, you were aware that sleeping with a married woman was wrong, correct? I thought she was separated. But you never verified that? Never asked to see divorce papers? No, ma'am. I trusted her. So you're admitting you were gullible. I'm admitting I believed someone I cared about. If that makes me gullible, then yes. Bowen tried to paint him as a homewrecker, but it didn't land. Blake came across as exactly what he was, a guy who got played. Finally, Judge Torres looked at Jennifer. Mrs. Parker, do you wish to testify? She stood, her voice shaking. Yes, Your Honor. Bowen led her through a carefully crafted narrative. Yes, she'd had affairs. Yes, she'd lied. But she was lonely, neglected, desperate for connection. I worked long hours, didn't pay attention to her needs, made her feel invisible. The affairs were a cry for help, a symptom of a broken marriage, not the cause. It was a good story, compelling even. Then Robert stood for cross-examination. Mrs. Parker, you testified that you felt neglected. Is that correct? Yes. And that your affairs were a response to that neglect? Yes. When did this neglect begin? I don't know exactly. It was gradual. But the affairs started 2 years ago, according to the evidence, so the neglect must have started before that, correct? I suppose. 2 years ago, what was your husband doing for work? He had the same job he has now. As a civil engineer for the county, working standard hours 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. Yes, and 2 years ago, your daughter Emma was 11, your son Tyler was 8, correct? Yes? So your husband was working a stable job with predictable hours, coming home every night to have dinner with his family. Is that neglect, Mrs. Parker? It's not about the hours, it's about emotional connection. I see. And you sought emotional connection with how many men over those 2 years? Jennifer's attorney objected, but Judge Torres overruled it. Answer the question, Mrs. Parker. I don't know the exact number. More than 5? Yes. More than 10? She didn't answer. Robert pulled out a document. Your Honor, we've identified at least 14 different individuals Mrs. Parker was involved with over the 24-month period, based on photographic evidence, hotel records, and testimony from various witnesses. The courtroom went silent. 14 men, Robert continued, while your husband was home with your children, while he was working to support your family, while he was, by your own admission, maintaining a stable, predictable presence in his children's lives. He turned back to Jennifer. That's not a cry for help, Mrs. Parker. That's a pattern of behavior. Jennifer started crying. I was sick. I needed help. I was addicted to the attention, the feeling of being wanted. Did you seek therapy? No. Did you tell your husband you were struggling? No. Did you do anything to address this supposed addiction other than continue engaging in it? I didn't know how to stop. But you stopped when you got caught. Interesting how that works. Bowen objected again. Judge Torres sustained it this time, but the damage was done. When Robert sat down, the judge looked at both of us. I'm ready to rule. Everyone leaned forward. This is one of the more clear-cut cases I've seen in 20 years on the bench. Mrs. Parker engaged in a sustained pattern of infidelity, deception, and manipulation. She compromised her relationship with her divorce attorney, creating a conflict of interest that borders on legal malpractice. She used marital funds to support her affairs, and when confronted, she attempted to manipulate witnesses and alienate her children from their father. He looked at Jennifer. "You're not a victim here, Mrs. Parker. You're an architect of your own circumstances." Then he looked at me. "That said, Mr. Parker, your response was not without fault. The harassment of Mr. Sutton, while understandable, was inappropriate. The pizza incident, while minor, showed poor judgment. However, I find that your actions were reactive, not indicative of a pattern of abuse or instability." He shuffled his papers. "I'm granting Mr. Parker primary physical custody of both minor children. Mrs. Parker will have supervised visitation twice weekly until such time as she completes a court-ordered psychological evaluation and parenting classes. At that point, we can revisit the custody arrangement." Jennifer let out a sob. As for asset division, given Mrs. Parker's use of marital funds to support her extramarital activities, I'm awarding Mr. Parker 70% of all marital assets, including the family home. Mrs. Parker will receive 30%, with no alimony. Bowen shot to her feet. "Your Honor, that's extremely punitive." "It's extremely fair, Counselor. Your client spent 2 years spending marital money on hotel rooms and gifts for her lovers. She's lucky I'm giving her 30%. He banged his gavel. "We're adjourned." Outside the courthouse, Jennifer's family surrounded her, shooting me dirty looks. Her mother actually spat at my feet as I walked past. "You destroyed her," she hissed. "I hope you're happy." I kept walking. Robert caught up with me in the parking lot. "That went better than expected." "Did it?" "David, you got everything. Custody, the house, most of the assets. This is a total win." "Then why doesn't it feel like one?" He didn't have an answer for that. I drove home alone, pulled into the driveway of the house that was now legally mine, and sat in the car for 10 minutes before going inside. Emma and Tyler were with Jennifer's sister for the day, their last supervised visit before the new custody arrangement kicked in. The house was empty, quiet. I walked through the rooms, seeing them differently now. The kitchen where I'd discovered the first text. The guest room where I'd slept for weeks. The kids' rooms, full of toys and books and memories. This was supposed to be our forever home, the place where we'd raise our kids, grow old together, build a life. Instead, it was just a house. 4 walls and a mortgage. A prize I'd won in a war I never wanted to fight. My phone buzzed. A text from Emma. "Dr. Grant said we can come home tomorrow. Is that true?" "Yes. I'll pick you up at 3. "Okay. Tyler wants to know if we can get pizza for dinner." I stared at that message for a long time. Then I laughed. Actually laughed for the first time in months. "Sure, but we're ordering from somewhere new. Any preferences?" "Not Gino's. Tyler says Marco is weird." "Deal." I set the phone down and looked around the empty,